Welcome to the Gabe Gallucci Golf Show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Gabe Gallucci Golf Show. Guys, first solo pod. Dave is in Sonoma getting some golf in, and he's currently on a plane right now. So I thought I'd just hop on here and give you guys an update on the off season, kind of bring you in on the training updates, where things are at, some hurdles we've overcome, some hurdles we're facing, and just kind of put it all together in a concise little update of what's been going on behind the scenes and how we've been grinding like an absolute psycho to move the ball forward. So anyway, so let's jump right into it. And, I never have an issue talking. So this is going to be fun. Just kind of rambling in my own thoughts, and maybe this will give you guys some insight as to how I think and just kind of the madness that ensues. First thing that I do want to talk about is actually watching Scotty Scheffler at the Arnold Palmer this weekend. Man, he's so good at golf. It is insane. Like, to see him putting well now. It's been funny. Like, if you listen to any of the No Laying Up podcasts or anything like that, it's really funny because they do all these like stat breakdowns where basically he is like generational talent ball striking and then was just so horrific putting. And if he just like putt mediocre, he would beat everybody by like 4. So, the fact that this past weekend he actually had good strokes gained putting. I think he even led the field in one of the days or whatever. It's going to be wild to see what a good Scotty Scheffler putting run could be. And going into the Masters with this kind of sauce, very interesting. So really cool to see him in form, and just interesting to watch his game and the way he goes about it, like kind of the artistry in his ball striking, and even foundationally when you hear him talk. He was kind of asked by a reporter how he goes about his keeping himself grounded. And obviously, he talks about his faith and his family, but it's just very interesting, his perspective on golf and where it actually ranks for him. And it sounds like golf actually just doesn't rank very high on the priority list of validating him as a person. And I think that's very interesting because, a lot of athletes have different ways of going about internalizing what their sport means to them and identifying with it. And I think maybe in some sports, having that angst and that gusto can maybe work when you're kind of going up against an opponent. But in golf, I think, kind of someone like Scotty is almost extremely dangerous as a competitor because he's so grounded as a person from the sounds of it. And he's got no shortage of talent and skill. And that seems to be the winning combo. And something I'm definitely trying to strive towards in my own game and what I'm working on is, the more I continue to ground myself and the more I continue to kind of work on myself to become just more level set and more gratitude filled and just better foundation overall. And you pair that with your skill development, I see much better results on the golf course, way less volatility. And then you also kind of just start to care less about the, ups and downs of what's happening on the course. So just very interesting, something we can learn from the number one player in the world who is potentially we're about to see a run that, we have not seen from in a very long time. So this could be really, really cool. Another really cool thing on the PGA Tour was seeing Jake Knapp have success. I've been following him since his days on the Canadian Tour. Just, I would just see his name pop up a ton. And it was always kind of surprising to me that he didn't kind of break through earlier. And it's actually, if you listen to his podcast with Smiley Kaufman, some really good insights as to why he had some of that up and down volatility. Because the guy just looks like he has absolutely everything to offer in what a star player should be, ball speeds, control, and he can putt great, like no shortage of short game and putting. So really, really cool to see him. Obviously big proponent of physical fitness, and you're seeing, the dividends that's paying in his game. So that's really, really cool. And definitely someone to watch. So I'm really, really excited to kind of see his development and see moving forward kind of where he ends up on the kind of PGA Tour totem pole. But yeah, that's awesome. Congrats to him, and looking forward to seeing more. But all right, let's jump into the game, off-season 4 updates, where we're at, where things have been going. So first is let's just jump into just a quick tournament update. My last tournament I played was at a couple weeks ago at Mayfair Lakes. I was supposed to actually have more tournaments, but they all got canceled because we had a stretch of bad weather here. That last tournament, I did not play well. I shot, I think it was like 8 or 9 over. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I've kind of moved on from it, but the main issue was the same thing that's been plaguing the other tournaments, which was wedges and putting. Wedges and putting. So kind of taking a step back, and for the last 2.5 weeks since that tournament, have been practicing nonstop at Sham Golf Course, which is like a par 3 18-hole track here. I think is probably the best place for me to improve this part of my game. And so, it's not like I'm miles away from being good. It was that, in that particular tournament, there were shots I needed to hit in those wet conditions with wedges that I just did not have the skill set to hit. And that was very much exposed in that event, and really kind of forced me to go back to the drawing board and just have to workshop it a ton. Thankfully, coming out on the backside of this, I've definitely made some big strides on that, and I have a video coming of a course vlog at Sham to kind of show you guys an update on the wedges and the short game. Like chipping and the wedges have come a long way. A lot of that's come from Max and I did a tweak. My issue is getting wide, right? So especially when it comes to my swing and everything, I definitely have a tendency to want to be narrow. I'm not sure if that's a function of, my speed training things and things I've done and trying to be fast. But definitely just like being able to stay wide has been a struggle. And I've been working a lot on that in the gym because, being able to hold your arms out and kind of go through the swing. Like I do a lot of shoulders and upper back work to facilitate that. I'm starting to see the strength feels come from that, in being able to kind of hold the width and also not be fast, right? Because one thing with wedges is being able to stay wide, but then not get quick. And went and saw Max and then just workshop this for every day, 4 hours. There were nights where I was chipping well into the dark, using the light from the restaurant at Cultus. So I'd go to Sham, play a full 18, chip on their green. They would close, would go to Cultus, chip there under the restaurant light, and just work on this motion of like keeping my arms connected and wide, and did that for hours upon hours upon hours for the past couple weeks, and have now started to see the dividends of that, which is great because you have to be able to execute that motion with such a tempo and trust that you're going to clip it in order to not get quick. And I would definitely get freaked out, not trust it, de-loft, and line drive. And that was becoming increasingly frustrating. The good thing, too, is that the weather's about to get nicer. We are going to start to see the turf firm up, which will only make this easier. But with that being said, good players are still able to hit these shots in these conditions, and that's no excuse. So I've just been working militantly on that and not cutting myself any slack on fixing that. And that's been really, really encouraging because now I'm, and you'll see in this upcoming video at the Sham Golf Course, like it is probably the only place I play that feels like a tournament. The greens are super tiny and there's slopes, there's spots you can't miss in. The up and downs can get pretty gnarly. Like it really is a great test, both for the wedges and for putting. And so I think for approach play, this is going to be a huge level up for me because this place just is making me better, and I'm seeing that translate. So that's really cool, and I'm excited for you guys to see that video. The next thing is putting. So the issue with putting, you know what, I I realized I've had to go back to the drawing board a little bit with putting, and part of it, I think there was some fundamental flaws in how I was putting. I went and picked up a PLD um, Alley Blue 4 putter, which is like had a ton of toe hang, and have been testing out that. I also did test a lab putter. The lab is not for me. I'm going to be honest. It was not for me when I tested it. Um, I it's great in isolated testing. On the course, I really struggled because I felt like there was no, for lack of a better word, there's no artistry with the lab. It feels like I don't know. I really struggled to make anything. Really, honestly, which is funny. I didn't intend for that, but I really, really struggled to kind of make any putts. This was before I kind of made any significant adjustments to how I was putting, but um, so I tested that. Then I went and picked up that PLD I was just talking about because I thought, okay, if no torque doesn't work for me, maybe a lot of torque, which some of my best putting rounds have come from using a putter that had a lot of toe hang, and I just wanted to try something new with a different feel, just shake it up a little bit. That putter, I had a bit of a honeymoon stage with it, but it still didn't translate to scoring. Like it was good, but it didn't really move the needle more than my Spider did or anything else. And I kind of realized there was a bit of a gaping hole in my putting. So I went back to the drawing board and actually reworked my technique a little bit and became a little more actually left hand dominant with the putter. I noticed that my right hand in the putting stroke was just becoming too much of a liability. And it was actually, I was setting up to a lot of my reads to actually like hook the putts a little bit. So I've taken a step back. I went back to actually the Cleveland putter. And the another thing too that I was also struggling with that I was starting to kind of find, and this is such an interesting piece that I see constantly, as I work on putting and work on my game. Um, as your body shifts and things, your alignments start to go off. So you have to constantly calibrate yourself to make sure that your alignments don't get too far off the planet. And I started to notice with my putting that I was missing some stuff that I was normally getting. And so I noticed that I was just getting too open. My shoulders weren't square and I was struggling to just align myself. So I've gone back to lining up the putt with a line on the ball and then lining myself up to that line and gone back to the Cleveland putter, the Huntington Beach 3, which is like there's like very little offset at all between the shaft and the blade. So I find it the easiest putter for me to line up. It's got some toe hang. It feels really natural. And it's been the best putting rounds I've had at Shiem since I've been practicing there, which is great for me because I feel like if I can putt there, I can putt anywhere. That's how gnarly this place can get. So that's been a good little update, like kind of solving the wedges in the putter because I was just getting crushed in some of these tournaments with lag putts or some wedge stuff. And it was just giving up so many shots and it was becoming like so demoralizing. And it was really starting to mess with my confidence because you start to go, well, I can't hit it there because I may not be able to make that lag putt. And, or if I have to chip that, or if I have to wedge that, it just really starts to poison you. And so I knew I had to take a step back and kind of fix this and build some confidence through just a lot of reps. And it's exciting because I have definitely turned that corner and definitely feel some momentum moving in that direction. So that's really good. So we can check those two boxes and kind of, move forward with that. The next thing is the driver now. Man, the driver this offseason has just been such an interesting journey. With the changes in my swing, getting wider, uh, being able to turn better, a lot of these things, I'd realized I'd kind of created a bit of a cheat driver swing that wasn't really the same swing as my long irons and my as long as my irons in general, right? And I was kind of had a crap swing for the wedges, crap swing with the driver, and with my irons, that was the swing. So then it really exposed itself with the wedges and is now kind of really exposed itself with the driver. And um, I am working now on building more width because honestly, it's just such an easy tendency to want to pull the driver in really close to my body and whip around. Um, but now with the way my mechanics are and things like that, it just doesn't work. I can't get away with it the way I used to, and I'm not hitting it great. So have been militantly working on that. The other thing is actually finding the right driver itself. I know I sound very picky and finicky when it comes to gear and stuff sometimes, but there's just, I know what I like and I know what feels right. And when it doesn't feel right, I just don't like it. It's just very simple as that. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. And when I don't like it, I really don't like it. Um, and I went and played some indoor golf with Max, and I was just struggling so hard with the ping to like I've never in my life been a short hitter. Like never. Not even when I was like young, not knowing about golf. Like I've always, whenever I've connected, I've always been able to hit it far. And I had a little bit of a setback from COVID in November when I got that. And I was, a little slow to get back. But like, again, never been short. Guys, this ping driver is short for me. I don't know what it is. And I was kind of thinking like, oh man, like I've just lost speed. I've lost something. And it was kind of messing with me a bit. Because that's just been a natural advantage for me off the tee is I've just always been able to kind of count on the fact that I can hit it far. And it's been everything else that's been the issue. So going and playing on a TrackMan and seeing some of the numbers I saw, I was like, what is going on? Like struggling to break 170 ball speed. I'm like, what in the world is happening? So, I was like, okay, I gotta step up what I'm doing in the gym. Like, am I training right? Am I doing things wrong? I don't know what it is. But then I kind of got the idea of, let's just like, actually, before I got that idea, I was just assuming I just needed to train better and train harder. And I, maybe had to rework how I was doing my gym stuff because I was clearly doing something wrong. Well, lo and behold, they got the new QI10 demos in at Shim, and so I was talking to the guys there, and I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm curious. Like, just want to see how this driver performs. Like, how does this driver work?" And there was a 5 mile per hour swing speed difference between me hitting the QI10 versus hitting the G430. 5 miles per hour. I'm swinging, and again, I have purposely not tried to swing like to the moon anymore with the driver. Like I've designed my swing and my tempo now to not swing in the mid 120s like I was trying. So, my goal is to really be like 119 to like 122, 123 would be like kind of the peak. And I think that's kind of where I'm going to want to sit for golf. And with the QI10, it's like 118, 119, 118, 119. With the G430 LST, I can't get this thing over 114 on TrackMan. I can't. I have to compromise my mechanics to get it remotely close to 116. So there's something wrong with this driver and my reaction to it. I don't know what it is. It could be the shaft, it could be the weight. I don't know. I did notice when I was doing the fitting with Rich that it wasn't going as far, but I also was willing to kind of be like, it's on me. Like I've never had that issue. And I was kind of seeing some of these ball speed issues, but I was kind of like, maybe I'm just having an off day, but it was just consistent. and to the point where I don't know. So there's something about this driver that just clearly doesn't work with me, my body, or my swing, and that's going to be something I'm going to have to investigate now. So we are actively testing um, the QI10 core model right now to potentially be a replacement because that seems to be really good. Um, which is so funny because it's just I didn't think driver was going to be the story of the offseason, but it definitely seems to be a volatile thing. And it's actually funny. I think I was hitting that TSR with an inch and a half, with like that short shaft. I know I was hitting that TSR farther than I was hitting this G430 with a longer shaft. So I don't know, there's something in there that's just not vibing. So we're gonna be testing that, and we'll see, because that's just something that has to be solved. 5 mile per hour swing speed difference is astronomical, and there's something holding me back there. So that's, yeah, we're gonna figure that out and deal with that. The other thing is that, what kind of has hurt my game a little bit is I've had to put these 12-hole challenges on hold because the weather has been bad, and so the greens at the course that I hold it at has been on temp greens basically for a month now. So I haven't been able to film any of the trying to shoot -6 and 12-hole challenge, which has been kind of annoying because I really find I get a good boost from playing that. It just changes how I think mentally. Like, I even find in a tournament, it feels like I have so much more golf to play when I get to hole 12 and I'm like, oh, I have 6 more left. Like, I know what I can do. I know what I can do in this amount of time. Like, I don't know. It just really helped me in my tournament mindset. And I found that not being able to do it these past couple weeks has kind of hurt me a little. And it's kind of mentally kind of just pushed me back to a spot I was. So I'm hoping to kind of get back into there. The weather's getting nicer, and I should be able to get out there and hopefully start filming these again. What is exciting though is that I haven't really been able to do any of these challenges with a functional wedge game and with this new putting setup. So maybe this time off will be good, and it's kind of forced me to work on some weaknesses that then I can bring back and hopefully apply. So that's been annoying, but weather's coming and that'll get fixed. The other thing too is my other course that locally here where I'm going to be training at, that's like a full length course and going to be hitting a lot more drivers. It's where I'm going to be doing the bulk of my filming. It opens up this week. So I'm really excited because that's going to now allow me to kind of expand my training. And between Shiem and this full length course, I think is what's really going to help drive me into this season and kind of connect a lot of the dots that I've been kind of slowly working to put together. Training wise, like, workouts have been really good. The body feels really good. Hips feel really good. Like, there's just been a lot of good progress. It's just bringing the whole game together. Like, it's funny, one of the things with the off seasons I find is that, I kind of have these moments where I'm riding high and I think I'm further along than I am. And then I have these humbling moments where I go like, oh crap, like there's still a lot more to go. And I've definitely had my fair share of those in the past couple of weeks where it's felt like things are good. Things are in a good spot. I'm definitely way further along down the path, but there's definitely still some stuff that is, kind of glaring weaknesses and things I need to clean up. My hope is that at least for this year, for this season, I'll be able to be competitively functional. I think for the last 2 years, I just have not been. Like, the mechanics have been so bad. But I think for my hope for this year is at least, I'll be able to be functional to play events and film and do all that and have a game that's actually able to do kind of the bare minimum of what I expect. To move forward and at least hopefully can start kind of trudging on the path to getting to a +6 this year. That's like, I want to just kind of be able to move forward. And we're seeing that because my bad days are still way better than my bad days used to be. And that's really good. That's indicative of progress. Going to kind of my New Year's resolutions. a big thing was obviously focusing on health. I've been putting a lot in place behind the scenes and actually been getting some tests done and some tweaking some things on my end to really kind of get my health in gear. Um, there's nothing overly concerning, but I just think I'm definitely not optimized to be a professional athlete. And I've been dialing in my diet. I've been dialing in, my habits and nutrition and all these things. And so just getting some further tests and meeting with doctors to kind of, one, make sure everything's all good because, as you get older, you do want to get checked. I think a lot of us have fear of if nothing's wrong, then we just don't want to know if something might be wrong. And that's something I've definitely had an issue with. And so I'm trying to get better at being proactive because it's better to be proactive than have to be reactive. And and especially with your health, there are a lot of things you can do in advance to kind of get ahead of things. And so I'm doing my best to do that now, and just kind of get ahead. And I also feel like that just helps lower your stress levels as a person. And if it's better to know than to get surprised in a lot of these circumstances. So that's been really good, and that's been a big focus. I'm feeling better. The body feels good, and hopefully primed and ready to kind of start attacking this golf season with a vengeance because I really, really, really want to make the next few months like really count. My swing goal, last year in June, I made a video saying it was going to take a full year from that time before the swing was like truly in a spot to do some damage. And I feel like I'm very much on that trajectory, being middle of March right now, still having April, May and basically I made that video towards the end of June. So to have, basically 3 months left, 3.5 months, whatever, I definitely think like I can close that gap and be night and day different from where I was a year ago. And I think going into those summer events, that's going to be where I'm poised to really start to make a turn and um, hopefully kind of jump to another level in my game. Obviously, not trying to put too many expectations on myself from like that standpoint. Like my daily expectations are to just go to the well every day, do the things I need to do every day to push me towards that goal. But obviously you want to have markers in place to show that, to see if the things you're doing actually move the needle. And I think I can definitely by June be in a spot where, cleaning up these wedges, cleaning up the driver now, getting the width, kind of building all that. Um, I definitely feel like that's going to happen and we're in a good spot. So yeah, so anyway, so hopefully that gives you guys some insight as to where things are at, where the off season's progressed. Overall, very pleased. Just kind of going through these hurdles and kind of taking them as they come. It's just constant cleanup. It's like a game of whack-a-mole, right? You kind of fix one thing and now it's like, okay, great, that's fixed. Now we got to fix this next thing. And I really enjoy that challenge. I just, selfishly, I just really, really hope to kind of get to a point where the floor of my game is at a point where I can just start to compete. Because I think, you know, I don't want to go into any tournaments anymore feeling like there are just holes in my game. I think that's just such a waste. It's I hate that feeling, and I think it's just such a waste um, of money to go into these events to just know going in that it just nothing's like you're just trying to make it through the day. So I've been working a ton and just practicing my ass off to kind of fix those holes because I know I can do this. I know I can pull this off. I have zero doubt in my mind. It's just putting in those reps every day to like overcome those hurdles and actually build the skill set to achieve that. So that's great. And that's something that, a couple weeks ago, the wedges were not feeling very spicy, but I think I feel way, way better now. And, uh, and same with the putter. And so just cleaning up all these things, keep moving forward. Um, I think, taking a little break from tournaments right now. A couple events got rescheduled, but I think I'm going to hold off until the summer tour kind of comes into play. I got to sort this driver issue out, and I've got to just do a couple life things. Got to go buy a car, um, got to get a couple things in order to facilitate all this crazy golf stuff, because it does get very expensive. And there's a lot of kind of life sacrifices that happen in order to facilitate this, which is I'm totally all in for. But you got to structure things accordingly to kind of be able to go after this full force. So we're going to take probably the next couple weeks off from tournaments, and then kind of once April hits, jump into the summer tour events, which will also be good because the conditions will have improved. Because with the amount of rain and everything we've gotten, like it's been really swampy, and the greens have been very poor just as a result. And I, we got a good stretch of weather coming. I need more time to kind of practice like a psycho. So I'm going to take that, save some extra cash, and then I can be able to reinvest that into other events and play more throughout the summer. So that's going to be the plan there. We'll keep you guys updated on the driver testing, things like that. But I think off-season 4 should come to a close, beginning of April. And so we've got, just a couple weeks left of the off-season to kind of bring all these things together. So kind of solve any remaining outstanding bag issues, and hopefully go into the season strong and firing on all cylinders. So I'm excited to kind of keep my head down, grind through the next couple weeks. And really, honestly, my practice schedule is not going to change once the season starts. Like, to be honest, like I say this now, but like the off season and the real season doesn't really change much, other than I'm just going to be playing a lot of men's nights and a lot of tournaments. So, I'll just have more reps, which I'm really looking forward to. I think I just want to like have more reps outside of tournaments that feel real. And Shiem's got a men's night, which is very competitive. There's going to be a men's night at Cultus, and there's probably, another men's night at another course locally I could probably jump into. So just being able to kind of like get those real reps going, I think it's going to be good for me, and something I definitely need to do to kind of sharpen things up. So anyway, guys, thank you for sticking with me on this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first solo pod of the show. And I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Off-season 4 is about to come to a close in the next couple weeks. So comment below if there's anything you got me to do for the off-season wrap-up episode. If there's anything I've missed or anything you guys want some insight on, happy to discuss. Dave should be back on the next episode. He's going to give us a lowdown on some bag updates. And he and I have had some very fun conversations over the past couple weeks, just going through some of that. So we've got some fun stuff to share there. But yeah, hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.